heck yeah, I can do this. I am doing this. Like, I am so strong and powerful, even though there were times where I was like, I'm really scared, guys. Can I do this? I don't know if I can do this. Like, I'm doing it. So that was like so assuring. Like, heck yeah, I'm doing this.
Hello and welcome to Healing Trauma Mamas. I'm your host, Madon Wingo. Thank you for joining us as we share in our stories and experiences of healing from childhood traumas and birth traumas. Listen as we discuss our struggles, our failures, our strengths and our victories, and all those lessons we've learned along the way. Why, hello, Healing Trauma Mamas. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm excited today for the guest that we have and the beautiful journey that she's going to share with us. Been looking forward to this, and I want to welcome Tony onto the podcast today. Tony, do you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, hi. I'm Tony. I am a new mama and aspiring doula. Yeah, I am 25. I just recently had my first son just about 5 months ago, and just moved to Texas, and I'm really excited to be talking.
Yay! Thank you so much for coming on. I know it can be hard when you have a little one, finding the time that we can be able to do it. So I just really appreciate it when mamas do take that time and try to make it so they can come on and share their journey with all the listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, you said aspiring doula. Um,
Yeah.
yes. I know you love all things birth and midwifery, especially, and home birth. And I'm thankful that, we got to meet. And I think you'll probably share in a little bit kind of how that happened. And basically, just thankful for your desire to know more and to learn. And I think that's awesome. That's where we should all be, right?
Yeah,
Um, yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit, like, how did you get into wanting to know more about birth or even liking the subject at all? Was there a specific thing that happened? Or let's
yeah.
start.
So, I have always been interested in birth and birth work. I used to watch like YouTube videos of like home births. Like, this is like years ago. Like, I was still like in high school. I would do like fun little YouTube videos watching all these really crazy, awesome home births. And but I never really thought that that was like a career path for me. Like, I just was like,
Right.
that's really cool. I don't know. I think maybe I just had some limiting beliefs. Maybe I
Why do you
also.
think it even came up for you at all? Like, because your
Hmm.
normal teenage girls aren't going to be like, ooh, let me YouTube home births. Like, that's
Right.
not something that generally comes up. So, is there anything that kind of started you that direction? Was there an event? Did you get to go see a birth or a family member or anything like that?
So, not necessarily. I think I always was interested in YouTube. Like, I just naturally watched just like a lot of YouTubers. And then the YouTubers I tend to enjoy were like moms or mom to be's. I always wanted to be a mom. So I loved watching people's journey into motherhood. Like, that was something I always wanted to be. Like, even as a little kid, I remember saying, like, I just want to be like a mom. So I just always was interested in watching that journey and the process. Like, I used to even watch like there were old TLC shows, like the birth shows, and it was like early morning shows of like the mom
Yes.
rushing to birth
Well,
and stuff.
TLC used to have one, like the birth story or something like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
remember
used to
watching
watch
that one.
those. Yeah,
Yeah.
so like me and my mom used to watch them together. So I think I just was always interested. I always was like the babysitter for all my family and friends. Like, it was like, oh, just go call Tony if you need a quick babysitter. So like, I think I just always loved kids,
Mm.
loved the process of being a mom. And yeah, so I think that's kind of just how it started. I think I just had like a natural inclination that I wanted
Oh,
to do something like that without even really like consciously knowing.
yeah.
uh, yeah. So
Sometimes you're just drawn to it and you
yeah, I
don't
think
have
it
any
is.
why.
Yeah.
That
So
happened to me when I was a teenager too.
Oh,
I
really?
didn't know it though. I didn't know that's what was happening. My friend was we were 16 juniors and she was pregnant and I was like all about it. Like I was like researching things for her and coming and talking to her about it and I ended up douling for her and not even knowing
Oh,
that's what I was doing. Yeah, like I didn't know it was a doula. I didn't know that was a name for it or anything like
yeah.
that, but I was like, "No, I've been helping you this whole time and can I come?" And she's like, Absolutely, you're coming with me."
Oh,
And so I got to go with her to the hospital and massage her feet and her hands and help walk her through it. Then I was so frustrated when the doctors kicked me out when she was pushing because I was like, "What? They're like, you're too young to be now." I'm like, "I've been here the whole time. Like, I'm not too
yeah.
young for this part." Yeah, so it was kind of funny, but I didn't know till like years later, looking back, I was like, "Oh, I was a doula for her. I just didn't know that's
Mhm.
what I was doing."
Yeah. Oh, how special. How cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So you are watching all these videos and
Yeah.
just
So,
really
fast forward, I started getting into like herbalism and just homeopath remedies and just like natural healing. Um, and I was working with like herbalists and like a lot of like getting my meditation degree and like certified in that. Like I was like just trying to find something that made me feel like I was helping others. For a little bit, I wanted to be a vet. Like was constantly just trying to find a way that I could give back, um, in like a natural earth medicine type of a way. And we moved to California, which is like another story. um, and
you can share all you want about it. I want to hear it all.
yeah, so I also would watch YouTube videos of people who would build out RVs or vans or buses. And this was around the same time, like I was like a child, and I was just like, I am going to do that. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I'm going to do that. I think that's really cool. And a couple years later, we ended up doing that, me and my husband. And so we were traveling around, and we traveled to California with our dogs, our English bulldog and our little pitty. And it was really awesome. It was really fun. But I still had this drive of like, I needed more. I didn't want to just like travel around in a van. Like, that was really awesome and super fun. And I met cool people, but like, I just wanted to give back some way. So that led me to volunteering and doing a whole bunch of other fun, cool things. And one day I was Googling just for fun because I just had this idea like I like watching these birth videos. Like, I wonder, and they are talking about midwives and doulas. Like, I wonder if I could just like contact a midwife and like have an apprenticeship or an internship and just like work for free and just get to know what is birth work, what is midwifery. So I was emailing a bunch of different, like I just Googled like midwives near me and found a whole bunch and was started emailing them. And I emailed this amazing woman. Her name is Christina Sanders. And she was like, that's so awesome that you're emailing me because I just had an apprentice that is moving on. Sorry, my dog is coughing in the background. um, but like this is like divine timing, basically. Like, I have someone leaving. I was looking for someone. Why don't you just come on in and let's have a conversation? So I came in literally like the next day and we just started talking. We really like clicked. We really vibed with each other. And yeah, I started working for her. And then about a couple weeks into it, I realized that I was pregnant. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is just like crazy timing. And I continued to work with her for into my second trimester. And then it started getting kind of difficult being like on call while also dealing with like the struggles of
Oh, yeah.
pregnancy. So I did have to stop and then just focus on being a mom, which was also really exciting. But she was just like my midwife for all half of my pregnancy without even realizing it. And that was really
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So I learned a lot and I decided that's what I wanted to do, but I needed to focus on being a pregnant woman first.
Good idea.
And then, yeah, since we're living in an RV, we were working at a campground as well, and craziness happened with the campground. And we had to move to Texas, where my family lives. And that's where I met you.
I bet that was hard to try to figure out, like, okay, we got to move across the country and I'm in the middle of this pregnancy and what's that even going to look like? How was
Um,
that in your process to first figure that out? And I'm sure there's a lot of emotions that come along with that, especially where you were very attached to this midwife. I
yeah.
mean, obviously, she was there from the very beginning for you for the pregnancy.
Mhm. Yeah, it was definitely really challenging. I think how we had to leave was more upsetting than anything. Like I wasn't upset that I had to move to Texas or find a midwife. I kind of just knew that all of that was going to be okay. Like I just didn't even want to worry about it. It was more just upsetting. It was very abrupt how we had to leave. Like we really enjoyed California. We had made friends. Like we had been there for about 2 years. So we started to feel like home almost.
Mhm.
I think that is what was more upsetting. But when it comes to like birth, I was so sure that I was going to have the birth that I had always envisioned that I never really even like worried about finding someone.
Mhm.
I just knew in my heart that it was going to be okay. Like even if I to birth Sunny, that's my son, on the side of the road while we're driving to Texas, like I knew that it was going to be okay. I just wouldn't even let myself go to the bad unknowns.
Good.
Yeah. And I just
When do you think
Googled
you
same
picked
thing.
up that skill?
Oh,
Because
I'm
a lot
sorry.
of people, yeah, so a lot of people will go to, the worst case scenario and the negative and stuff like that. But you, instead of the opposite and the assurance, nope, it's going to work out and it's all going to be fine. Do you think that was something that you were taught from a younger age or something that you learned through a bunch of things?
I think it's something that I just learned myself. I don't want to sound cheesy, but I just truly believe that God is with me and that my ancestors are with me. Um, like to my core beliefs, I know that I'm like insanely divinely loved. Um, so whenever I am in a situation where I feel maybe uncomfortable, I just always lean into that and know that I will always be protected. And that's just like a core belief that I have. And that's not anything I was taught. It's just something, I don't know. I just woke up and decided from like a really young age that I just was loved and protected and I was going to always be okay.
That's so beautiful. It's bringing tears to my eyes because yes, absolutely. We are so divinely loved.
Yeah.
And wow, yeah, absolutely beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. And, to bring it down a little bit, if, someone's not in the like headspace to hear that, I just think if there is a negative what if, then there is a positive what if. So whenever I do like the what if game, like, what if I can't find a midwife? I have to move to Texas. Like, what if, negative, negative, negative? I always think like a what if positive. Well, what if I find a midwife? What if she's awesome and we connect so well? And what if I have that dream birth or, whatever you're talking about?
I love it. That's
Yeah.
great. Awesome. So you just had that just perfect assurance that everything was going to be great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, knew in my heart. And then I Googled and I actually found Jennifer first. And I called her and she was like, I am full, but call my friend Madon. So I was like, okay. And I called you and we just clicked and it worked. And I am so grateful that that happened.
Me too. Me too. And you had some challenges along the way in your pregnancy.
Mhm.
Your pregnancy wasn't just as smooth as, not just the moving across, but your
Mhm.
body was trying to compensate for the pregnancy.
Mhm.
And so you had some things that you were working on. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure, yeah. So I was having some iron issues that were more on the severe side. Um, and that was challenging, but um, let's go back. I was a vegan for a lot of my life. So I think the challenge there was knowing that I was going to have to eat meat. It felt more of a moral issue for me, of just like the ethicalness of meat and some of the practices. Farm fresh all the way, but when you're shopping at Walmart, sometimes you don't get the most beautiful
Very true.
farm fresh meal.
Very true.
So I think for me and my iron issues, it was linked to like, okay, well, now you have to start eating meat and red meat, and you need to really be fueling your body with what it needs. Um,
Mhm.
so it was a little bit of a moral issue, but I needed to listen to my body and I wanted to love my son. And if he was telling me that I needed something that I could fix, he needed it. So yeah, I figured it out and I started eating meat
That's
and
what being a mom is, right?
yep, I just, yeah, and it's been an okay journey. Um, I think that, you just have to weigh like the pros and the cons of some things. And um, my son's health and my birth was way more important than
Yeah.
those beliefs.
Well, that was such a great thing you did for your son, just to be like, hey, he's telling me he needs something, and it's not
Mhm.
necessarily what I would have wanted, but I'm gonna do it because I know that's what he needs at the moment, and it's just for a time. It's
Mhm.
just in this moment, that's what we need to do, and then I can switch to, whatever I need to do after that.
Yeah.
Um, that was awesome.
Yeah, and it's also was nice being in Texas because there are awesome like family farms and like butchers, so I don't always feel like I have to
So true.
like support a system that I don't necessarily agree with. Like some of my family hunts and like that's nice. And so I do think that it also is a blessing that all of that kind of started to happen because I didn't have iron issues until later on in my pregnancy. Um, so I think that it all also was just divine timing. I got hit with iron issues, and then it was like, well, you're going to move to a place where that's not going to be as conflicting. And so, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that is a great thing about Texas. Like I know exactly where I get my beef from. Like I am friends with the people I get my beef from, like, and it's I've been to the property exactly where they're at. So same thing. Like that's really powerful to be able
Yeah,
to do that. It's not just in the store from who knows where and
right.
all of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so you worked hard on that through your pregnancy. So leading up to the birth, and moving and all the things that you did, do you want to share like maybe some things that you did to really prepare?
Yeah. So because I would watch videos as a kid and I would listen to the women who were like, this is how I push, this is how I breathed my baby out. I feel like I started like preparing for birth from like a very young age. um, sorry, I'm just gonna tell my dog to go sit. Hey, go sit down. Sorry. um, So yeah, I think that I was like preparing for birth from a young age. They would constantly be saying things like a easy practice to do is to like push while you're breathe, pushing while you're pooping, or things like that. So I was constantly like breathe pushing while I was just like going to the bathroom, like before pregnancy, anything like that. Just like constantly like trying to connect the brain, the breath to my cervix and my pelvis. Um, So I think that's probably the biggest thing. And that was something I did before I even really knew I wanted to like start actually trying for a baby. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that is probably the biggest thing, is just watching women tell their stories, and midwives say like, this is this technique, this is the breathing technique, do like hypno this and things like that. So I was constantly listening and learning, and was interested in trying those techniques, and then it just was very natural when like the time came.
Nice. Good. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as you got closer to delivery, is there anything else special that you did? We talk a lot. I talk a lot as a midwife and talk a lot on this podcast too about like protecting our birth space and, making sure that there's nothing in between you and somebody in the room, or that there is nothing, um, nobody coming in who doesn't agree with what's going on, those types of things. It's a very profound thing, by the way. I had a client not too long ago. She was in early labor, and her labors had always been fast. And so she called me and told me, like, hey, I'm in early labor and this is what's going on. I'm like, great, I'm changing my plans for the day. I'm coming to see you. I'm getting closer to you because I'm expecting that. Really interesting thing happened. Her grandma showed up unexpected house. She didn't know she was in labor. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and she didn't live nearby. And she unexpectedly showed up at her doorstep.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly, my client was in a fight, flight, or freeze mode. Because she was like, I am not telling grandma that I'm in labor. And in fact, I'm shutting this thing down. We're not having a baby. I'm not comfortable. She's not going to be comfortable. And actually, she completely shut labor down after that happened, and we did not have a baby the day after grandma left.
Oh my
And it was
goodness.
really interesting because we talk so much about protecting the birth space. Now, that was out of her control. This person just showed up, right? But the
Mhm.
body knows. And her body was like, nope, not safe. I don't feel like I can have a baby in this space with this person nearby. Now she's made all these tensions really high. And so we're holding the baby in until we're in a safe, comfortable, peaceful zone, or, atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it's so neat because I talk about it so often, but then to see something like that, like played out and
Mhm.
happen in front of you, and I'm like, yep, this is what we talk about all the time. So how do you feel like for you, trying to, because you're obviously a very peaceful person and you have a lot of faith and trust, in your body and in just who you were created to be. And I love that. How did that play into creating your birth space?
Yeah. So I think that I listened to a lot of meditations, and that kind of just set the tone for everything. And I would have like my husband listen to the meditation because I knew he was going to be my biggest support person. I also had my mom in the room with me, and my mom can have a little bit of higher energy. So I was constantly reminding her, like, listen to the meditations, watch the births that I'm sending you. This is what I want it to be like. I'm sorry, these dogs. I'm just gonna
They're not bothering me.
kick them out of the room real quick.
Okay.
Come in. Come on, go. Go. Go on. Let me sit. Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. Since we had to break, I'll cut that piece out. Why don't you go back to where you were talking about Micah
Okay.
and doing things with him too, because you were cutting out there. So we'll just start
Okay.
back there.
Yeah. So I knew that Micah, my husband, was going to be my main support human in the room, other than you, my midwife. So I made him watch the birth videos that I really enjoyed, listen to the meditations, and we would watch the like counter pressure, like where on the body can he help? How can he be involved? Hand squeezing, just encouraging words. Like I really encouraged him, and he also, wanted to know how he could best support me. And then my mom, who is also going to be in the room, and she can have higher energy and be a little bit more higher strung than me. She, this was a whole new world for her. Like she's never even heard of a home birth. So she was, as any mother may have, was concerned for their daughter and just wanted to make sure I was going to be safe. So I also was encouraging, like, read this book, listen to this podcast. This is the YouTube that inspired me. Watch this YouTube. Listen to the birth meditations with me. And like we were very open with talking, like, if you have too much energy, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the room. Like that's just, like we need to protect my area. We need to protect, no, sorry. I have a lot of people in this house. But we need to keep this like those YouTube videos, because she really loved the YouTube videos. So I was like, that is exactly how I want it. Quiet, but also, joyous. I was just recently watching my birth video, and there are moments where I'm like middle of pushing, and then like you made me laugh, so then I'm like laughing about something. So like, I want it, to be a good experience. It doesn't need to be all focused and scared or anything like that, but I wanted it to be like me controlling everything. So if I said music, let's put the music on. If I say no one say a word, I don't even want to hear you guys breathing, then please do that.
Right.
So I had those conversations with my mom of like, if I ask you, or if Madon asks you, or if Micah asks you to just take a second and leave the room, like, please do that. And because she wanted to be in the room so badly, she was like, okay, yes, anything you want, I will do. So that was really nice. That was really, really nice. And my father was there as well, and he just was the, like, I don't know, grocery boy. We'd be like, I need a smoothie, and he's running out the door getting the smoothie. So that was also nice, like having a person who was just like waiting to do something to help. So that was really nice, just like having the conversations, and also like having my support people prep with me.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Like if they're going to be there, they're going to do prep work as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you want to share about the birth? Do you want to share your feelings about it or the whole thing? Like I love, I love hearing it from your perspective. I think it's so awesome. And I haven't seen that video. So maybe like, oh.
Yeah, of course, I love to share. I think that my birth experience was so positive and what I would want other women to have. So I think that we need more positive birth stories out there, because sometimes you only hear the scary stuff, and it can be useful to know that could happen, but it's nice to just hear the positive stories and know that like it's not, birth is a natural thing that sometimes needs interference. It's not something that needs to be handled all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I would love to share. I think that to fully tell my birth story, I would have to start like the day before, because I was having minor contractions for about like a week, we'd say, on and off.
I'd say so. Yeah.
But the night before giving birth, my body knew before my brain could keep up. So like looking back, it was obvious that like I knew something was happening. But in the moment, I was just like a blubbering baby. I was like, we need to take family photos. So I was like making my husband, like all last minute, I was like this could be our last time. Like we need to take these photos. So I was crying like I'm not gonna be able to baby my dogs anymore. Like I was having like really big moments of like, this is gonna be our last time. This is gonna be our last time. So I definitely knew something was happening before I consciously knew something was happening. But I went to bed and I woke up at about 1 in the morning and I just knew that this was different. It wasn't my normal, like I just have to get up and go to the bathroom. Like this was something happening. But I tried to go back to sleep and then I woke up at 1:30 with contractions that I needed to move through a little bit more. They weren't as just like ignore them. So I woke up my husband and he started timing them. I can't remember how far apart he really did all that. I was not in charge of tracking at all. I was just like, I'm having one, and he would do it, and then it's over. And yeah, so he was doing all that, and he was sending it to you. I think he was sending it to you. Maybe not. I'm not quite exactly sure what was going on.
I think around 1 a.m. is when I got the first
Okay,
text.
was it around? Okay. He was like, I was very much like, no, I'm fine, I don't need Madon, don't call her yet, I don't call her. And he was like, no, I really think that we need to let her know that something's happening. I was just so sure that it wasn't I didn't want to like wake you up if it was just like unnecessary. So I just was like, no, just wait, like I'll know when I need to call her. But my husband was like, no, I'm not. I'm contacting the midwife. And luckily you were actually out of birth. So you were just like,
Yeah, you didn't know I was already up.
yeah.
I had never went to bed.
So you were just like, let me just finish up what I'm doing here and I'll head over your way. Take a shower, relax, breathe. So that's exactly what I did. I hopped in the shower and I just relaxed. It's so funny because time really just like doesn't exist when you're in certain situation, and birth is probably, I just no time. There was just nothing but just I was in the moment. So I really don't have good time stamps, but I think I was in the shower for about an hour. The water started to get cold. So I'm not quite sure how long I was in the shower for, but I was on my hands and knees and I was just breathing through each contraction. Because I had done a lot of meditations and visualization, I also did work a little bit with a pelvic floor specialist. And she also gave me some small techniques of just like visualization techniques. So I at first was picturing each contraction as a wave, and it was building and then it was gone. But that started to get a little bit hard for me. So it was easier for me to think of my contractions as a person. So I literally would say to myself, she's coming, she's coming. Oh, look, she's pulling up in the driveway. She's getting out of her car. She's knocking on my door. Okay, she's here. Hi, welcome. You're here. You're here. Okay, she's leaving. Goodbye. She's walking out the door. She's in her car. She's driving away. She's gone. And that was able to help me just like be a little bit more present and know that I'm not going to die. It's not going to last forever. Like she's going to be here and she's going to leave. So that made me feel more sure that I could do each one, because I was going to have a downtime where I was alone and I was in my house by myself and no one was here. And that is how I handled every single contraction. I eventually got out of the shower and into bed. I was able to go to sleep in between contractions, which I think is really awesome. So I was able to actually get like nice rest. And then I think around 10 in the morning, I was now in the tub and things were starting to get a little bit more real. You were having to help me a lot with like, I was saying ow and screaming ow and using certain words instead of ow. Let's say out. Like that's something that was very in my head. So I was yelling out and like, please, Sonny, come down. Like I'm opening, I'm softening for you. Speaking to my baby and like telling him that I'm ready for him. And I mean, I don't know if there's science behind if that really works or not, but it definitely, maybe it's all placebo, but either way, it felt like it was helping, like it was doing something. Um, so I did that for a little bit, and that was nice, but I kept feeling like I wasn't grounded, like I was really focusing on floating, and it took a lot of the pain away. So I really love water and encourage water. For anyone who feels like water could be a really cool tool, definitely just like take the leap and try it. But for me, I was really focused on floating, and I felt like I needed to be like grounded. So I did start to feel like I needed to push, but because I was floating, I just like couldn't focus on like what my body was saying. But I knew that as soon as I stood up, it was going to become real. So I don't know if you remember, but there were times where like, okay, after this contractions, let's stand up. And I just was like, no, I'm not ready, because I know that things are gonna start to get real. And I was scared. I was nervous. It was something I never did before, even though I dreamed about it and I wrote about it and I journaled. It's still like scary. You've never done this before. Um, but I have really great support people, and they were able to really help me and guide me through the next steps of getting out of the tub and what that meant, um, and into pushing. And pushing was the best part for me, because it felt like I was actually doing something. It kind of felt good, even like it was like relieving. So I actually enjoyed pushing.
I've often said that myself. With
Yeah,
most of my births, the pushing was like the best part because I got to be actively involved in the labor and
right.
not just like trying to cope with contractions,
Mhm.
because then you feel so like I don't actually get to do anything. I'm just trying to be okay with this. And then go to pushing, you're like, no, I can be a part of this, a big part of this right now.
Yes, that's exactly how I felt. And then my mom took a picture of him starting to crown, and she showed that to me, and that was like, heck yeah, I can do this. I am doing this. Like, I am so strong and powerful, even though there were times where I was like, I'm really scared, guys. Can I do this? I don't know if I can do this. Like, I'm doing it. So that was like so assuring. Like, heck yeah, I'm doing this. Um, and yeah, he was born at, I think, 11:50 is when he was born, 11:49, something like that. And um, yeah, there's no tearing. I mean, there was like a minor tear, but nothing any serious. I was able to birth the placenta, no problem, which also was really cool. Honestly, a little bit more challenging, because like you just get done birthing this huge being, and then the placenta, I don't know, maybe it's just like a me thing, but it was hard for me to reconnect those brain
That happens a
muscles.
lot. That
So
happens a lot. Whoa,
yeah,
wait, hold
yeah, I just was like, wait, I don't even remember how I was doing that. I don't know how like I can do that. Um, but no problem. And my recovery has been amazing. I'm 5 months postpartum, and um, I don't have like really any issues. I am up on my feet. I'm working out again. Like, it's been just an amazing experience. I'm breastfeeding, and at first there were some challenges just because I've never had something gnawing on my boobs like that. So that was, a little bit painful for a couple days, but we stuck through it, and I now love breastfeeding. It's like a magical experience.
on.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
it's been amazing.
I love hearing it from your perspective. It's always so awesome. I'm going to have a podcast episode coming up soon, but just talking about holding space and, you said, I don't know if there's any science behind or if it's a placebo effect of the words that you switched to, right? And I say that that is extremely powerful. Our words are powerful. They have the power to give life or death, right? And
Right.
so we have the power when we expressing out loud and we change that mindset. Me saying ouch, ouch, ouch is me
Mhm.
getting tense and me running away from something. But me saying out, come down, baby. I'm ready for you. Out. That's a completely different mindset. And I think
Mhm.
that that actually has so much effect on you. And
Mhm.
then the other people present, like you don't know how impactful your presence is. Even if you just say one word of encouragement, like I don't really remember saying like to you to switch it, but then when you said that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's something I would definitely say.
Yeah.
I remember just being quiet around the tub for you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it's really interesting that how impactful just the space is and just holding that space. And then something you didn't share, and I don't know if you want to share a little bit about your little dream or vision about your
Oh,
delivery, because I
yeah,
think that is so beautiful.
yeah. So, I had like two little things that I experienced. The first was when I first got pregnant, I had this dream with my original midwife that she was just like, go to sleep and let your body birth this baby. And in my dream, I literally like went to sleep and I just pushed Sonny out and suddenly he was in my arms and it was like an outer body experience. Like I was watching myself give birth. Like it was a really amazing thing. And so I knew obviously I probably am not going to be asleep giving birth, but my birth is going to be very zen. I'm going to just be laying down and I'm just going to let my body do everything. I'm not going to, I guess I took go to sleep as in don't let your mind get involved. Don't suddenly start doubting your body. Don't don't do the what ifs. Just shut your brain off and listen to your body. Let your body do the work. And that happened. I literally was laying down on my side and just listened to my body. And you did coach me a little bit through pushing. And I did not think at all. I really was an outer body experience. And um, in the videos, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. Like, oh my gosh, like what the heck just happened? I just felt everything. Like, what's going on? And the second fun little thing is a week before giving birth, I wrote down as if I had already done it. So I was writing like I didn't write the date, but because I wasn't sure about the date, but I just was like, I just gave birth to Sunny. This is how it went. And I just wrote as if I had done it. It was a zen, peaceful situation. There was no tearing, there was no interference. Um, it was under 15 hours, which is pretty, crazy for a
Under how
first.
many? You cut out
Oh,
under
sorry,
how many
under
hours?
15. I did
Okay.
not want to birth longer than 15, which is, you know, pretty unheard of for a first time mom.
Hmm.
They're usually birthing for a lot longer. But I was like, nope, it's going to be under 15. Um, it's going to be just a magical, magical experience. And I was like in detail, like pretty like down to like the minute details of how I wanted it to be. And it was like real close to how how I wrote about it. I gave birth in 11 hours, which is pretty crazy. I only pushed for an hour, which is also pretty crazy. No tearing. It was literally everything I could have dreamed of, and it was everything I had written down in my little like future self talking about it. So that was really, really crazy. I really like manifested, if you will,
Yeah,
what was going to happen.
that's amazing. I love it. And I'm sure after you wrote all that down that you were like meditating on that throughout the week.
Yeah. Yep. I wrote it and then I would put on one of my birth meditations. I did the gentle birth meditation and then the hypno birth, just like the app on my phone. Um, and I would read it every night and I would just pray on it and think on it and really visualize like the experience. And it also was helpful that the meditation courses that I took also had like visualization, like how do you want your birth to look like, and like breathing techniques and a lot of things like that. So I would definitely check out those apps if you can afford them because they're really really awesome. Um, but if not, I really just did it myself. I wrote it down and just read it and prayed about it and thought about everything I wanted to happen and just believed, like really truly in my soul believed that that was going to happen. I didn't even think about the negatives. And yeah, it did.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I really appreciate you sharing with all of us about it. So, in your recovery and they just, being a mom and taking care of this sweet baby boy, you're doing all the things now. Um, birth changes you, becoming a mom changes you. Any thoughts about that? Anything you'd like to share?
Um, that's a good question. It really does change you. I think that it has made me a little bit more cautious, which I think most women probably would agree. I, like most humans, I do have some anxiety, but before pregnancy and birth and now being a mom, I don't think I was very anxious, but now I just worry about, everything, just he's my baby. So I think that I have some, I hope natural anxieties. I hope that most parents feel that way too. And I'm not, um, you know, have a lot of anxiety over it. But I think that's probably the biggest thing is that I'm always just really cautious now. I'm like, we're driving too fast. We have to go the speed limit. Like, watch out, watch out, speed bump. Like, I'm just very like, be careful, or where do we park the car? We have to be sure. Like, before, those were all things that, I mean, I was always cautious about speeding, but like, I would just get out of my car and leave. Sometimes I would forget to lock the door. Like I just like
Yeah.
I was very just like just didn't have some of the anxieties that I think I have now. And then I think I'm more fun. I'm more like, let's just put on the music and dance. Like, let's
Yeah.
just be right here in the moment because I know that these moments are not gonna last forever. Like he's already changed so much and grown so much. He's sitting like I just really want to appreciate these moments and these small things and watching him sleep, having feeling him in my arms, like um yeah, it's I've gained anxiety, but I've also gained an appreciation for like the moment, like this very second, um,
Great.
which I think is amazing. You can't really even put it into words, like watching um, your baby change and grow.
So true. So true. I would say, it's very normal for parents because things that you hadn't ever thought about before, now you like they pose a threat, or, there's lots of different things, all these different interactions and things that you're constantly watching for. And that's part of motherhood and part of parenthood, that I mean, dads do the same thing, that now they're
Right.
looking at these different things and they're watching for it. I would say though that one thing that can help with that anxiety a little bit is that assurance that you have that you are deeply loved and cared for and provided for. So is that child.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. That was a good reminder.
It's so beautiful.
hmm Yeah, no, it's really, yeah. I don't think the English dictionary has enough words to like truly, truly describe the feelings that you have
Yes.
for your child.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And it's amazing when you have more children, like it multiplies. It's
Right.
like like you have this like welling up, bursting love for this child that you're like, how you haven't been there yet. But for me, like I remember when we were pregnant with my second one, and I kept thinking like, how am I to love this child and as much as I love my first? Because I'm
Yeah.
just like bursting with love for my first. And then you hold that other baby and you're like, oh, this is how, like it just gets multiplied. And
Yeah.
it's so crazy. So it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, no, I understand that because I definitely want to have another kid in a couple years. And so I'm already thinking like how is that even possible for this love to get even deeper? Like
Yeah,
how can that how can that like how do I have enough room in my heart for
for
something
sure.
for someone else?
Yeah, and it's amazing how God just creates the room and gives you this whole other thing that you hadn't experienced before, and you're like, "Whoa, this is wild."
Mhm.
Something that came to my mind too is, especially first time moms.
Mhm.
And then for me, this has happened after every birth, every child. But um, do you look at your husband a little different? Do you see him in a little bit different light? I personally feel like with every child, it's just you mentioned a deeper love. Like I
Mhm.
feel like that's the same way like with my husband. I'm like there's a
Yeah.
deepness and there's a change over that when you see him as a dad, and
Mhm.
taking care and protecting this child as well and the changes that you see in them. I'm just curious what you have seen and experienced.
Yeah, no, I think that the love like changes. Like
Yeah.
it's he saw me, especially the way we birthed, like he really saw me in a different light. And I think because of that, he loves me in a different way. And in return, like I love him in a different way. Uh,
Yeah.
because he really was that supportive person, constantly whispering and reminding me that I was loved and protected and that like all the women that came before me, they're laying their hands on me and like I can do this. Um, so like hearing him be that supportive person definitely changes the way that I view him and watching him with Sunny is the most beautiful thing. Like he used to play with our dogs and I used to think like, "Oh my God, he's so cute. Like look at him play with our silly dogs." And now it's like, "Oh my gosh, look at him like play with our son." Like he makes our son laugh like nobody else and like hearing
Mhm.
that giggle come out of him is like only my husband could make him laugh like that and like that's so beautiful and special and watching him trying his hardest to provide for us is also so beautiful and yeah, I definitely love him a little bit deeper than
Yeah.
I did before.
It's so neat how that happens. Yeah.
Hmm.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, any words of wisdom if there's any first-time moms out there who are preparing for labor or moms, in their postpartum period. I just feel like you just took everything at such a with such a great attitude and knowledge of not just all the things, but just knowledge of who you are. And I just love, I'm just going to be repeating that in my head. Just, well, I know I am loved and protected. And that's innately in me right now. I know that. So,
I think that that would be if anyone is listening and they could take anything out of this is just that they are so loved. And like whatever you believe in, like we don't even need to get into that, but just like know that you are so loved by
mm,
your parents or, by God, by your ancestors, by the people that came before you, by the universe. Like you are so incredibly loved. And because of that love, you can do anything and
mm,
everything. So you can also give birth. You can birth your baby, however. you choose to. You can do that because you are so loved. And like I love you. Like you can, yeah, I believe in you and you can do it.
I love it. Well, and that's said not just like a beautiful mama to other mamas, but also that's very doula like to do, but also very just like, we are intended for community. That is what we were created for, is community and to be love. That is, I fully believe we were created to be love, to manifest love completely. And to be able to like just sincerely mean that to everyone, that I love you like tremendously and I am here to support you. We just need so much more of that in our communities, and so I'm so thankful that the Lord brought you to Texas. I am so thankful.
Me too.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Well, listeners, I want to just thank everybody for listening today. Thank you, Tony, for coming on, and we'll let you get back to going to love on that sweet baby boy. But we really appreciate you taking the time and sharing your story. I know it's going to bring so much joy and peace to other mamas out there. Thank you for listening. May you be encouraged and strengthened by what you've heard today. Remember, you are dearly loved by your Creator, so be who He created you to be. May you go in peace, friends. Till next time, Shalom.